Well, hello and welcome to the show. Straight into it today. And what I've got in front of me are two virtual machines, one Windows XP machine and one Ubuntu 12.04 machine. The purpose of this video is actually help anybody migrating from a Windows environment over to a Linux and specifically an Ubuntu environment. I'm using Windows XP here simply because it's what I had quickly and easily available to me, and I'm using Ubuntu 12 again because I had it quickly and easily available to me, but Ubuntu has pretty much been using this Unity style desktop since version 11 I think, and it's still current in the version 14 releases. So this will still be directly relevant to anyone looking at a Ubuntu release, and I've also chosen Ubuntu because it's probably the most popular, and once you get past the differences between the two, fairly easy to use, fairly intuitive. It will also run on a large array of hardware. Alright, jumping straight in. The Windows environments, everyone's familiar with the start bar, and realistically it's still there in some form of iteration even in Windows 8, 8.1. So the start bar, very easy, big green button down the bottom right hand corner, and you bottom left hand corner, and you get an array of options which a lot of people are already familiar with. So what's the equivalent in an Ubuntu system? It's the dash button. It's called the dash, big Ubuntu circle with a smaller circle and three dots. Give that a single tap and you are presented with a series of recent apps or shortcuts and other recent files that you've already used, and that is because you are on the little home icon down here, and there's 5 little shortcut buttons down the bottom here. This one is home, which gives you your recents and your recent files. This one here looks like a little ruler and a pencil and pen. Give that a click. This takes you to, again, some more recently used applications, and we are in the applications section. Your installed applications, gives you the first 6 or so depending on your screen resolution, and you can click the see more button to scroll through all of the available applications and iterations of those applications available on your system. This is your documents, gives you an idea of the recent folders and or applications and documents that you've used. Music, there is no music on this system at this point in time, and videos. It'll go through to some ABC iView content because Ubuntu is a live system. It has, if you have internet connectivity, it will draw upon additional searches and research material and links and associated things depending on what you're searching for at the time. You can search videos and it will take you straight to online content that's related to your search criteria. A little bit like the more recent operating systems from Windows, especially Windows 8.1, whereby it's actually got a store inbuilt. Windows or Ubuntu actually has a store and a file repository built in, so a lot of the things that you might need are already and readily available from inside of the operating system. No need to go and search online for anything. Alright, so this dash at the top of the screen, and this is a panel, just referred to as the panel down the left hand side of the Ubuntu desktop. That is the equivalent of the start button. So if I go start all programs, I get a series of options, subfolders and already ready to go programs available on my Windows XP desktop, and I can click on those and fire one up. I'll do it now with good old Notepad. Okay, so there is Notepad. So I get to that start all programs up to the accessories subfolder, and there is my application Notepad. On an Ubuntu system, I start with the dash button, my equivalent of home. I head down to my applications. Now I've got 2 different ways of getting to it. I can simply type in what I'm looking for if I've got an idea, but if I don't have an idea, I can simply click on all my installed applications and scroll down to, I think it's called text editor. Yep, there it is there. Text editor, that is the equivalent of a Notepad in an Ubuntu system. and that's maximize, so I'll just minimize, give that a window. Okay, so there we have the equivalent of Notepad, probably more like WordPad, a few more features than Notepad. So all programs from the start menu, and find the program that you're actually after in the immediate window or in any of the subfolders. Up to the dash, down to my programs equivalent, or all programs equivalent. Open up all of my programs and find what it is I'm looking for in here. Click on it to open it. Okay, so this is Notepad. This is gedit. The application is called gedit Graphical Editor. One thing to note, in a Windows environment, especially when the application is windowed like this currently is, you will typically find your minimize, maximize and close buttons and all of your menu options. But the minimize, maximize and close buttons are in the top right hand corner. The big red X is what you'll be familiar with, and you have your menu choices automatically available as well. So if I maximized this, I still have Notepad, I still have my menu, and I still have my buttons in the top right hand corner. I'll just get out of that. No, I didn't wish to save. In an Ubuntu system, you'll probably see there is my maximize, there is my minimize and there is my close buttons. They are familiar, but they're on the left hand side. You'll also notice that I have large icons to do the menu style choices that you would normally have just as words in the Notepad equivalent. If I maximize that, you will notice that I still have my icons across the top here, but if I mouse up to the control bar or the menu bar here, I then get a series of menu choices. And this is pretty much the way things work in the Ubuntu space. If I'm windowed, I will have my application name, my file name on my application name, the maximize, minimize and close, minimize and maximize buttons. As it's full screened, the control bar at the top is where all of my menu choices and my maximize, minimize and close, minimize and maximize buttons have gone to. So whilst I'm in the document down here, right, I can't see how to close the window. However, if I head up to the control bar here, this gives me all of my choices. I can also double click that to go back to a windowed format. Close without saving. Alright, backdrops, the wallpaper. On a Windows XP and many Windows operating systems, right click, head down to Properties, and you can very quickly go to your screensavers, desktops, appearance and settings. In this case I'm going to change the desktop to, autumn will do. Click OK, and I have changed my desktop to autumn. What about in an Ubuntu system? I right click, go straight down to change desktop background, and I get a similar window to what I was presented with in the Windows environment, and I can simply find a suitable desktop, click on it, close the window. I've changed my Ubuntu desktop. Screen resolutions, something similar. Right click on your blank space on your Windows desktop, head to Properties, the Settings tab, and from here I can scroll up and down and choose whatever screen resolution and or color depth that I'm after. In the Ubuntu system you can't do that straight from a standard menu by right clicking and going to any of the available options. They're slightly different. But all we need to do is look for the big cog. Big cog with a spanner through it takes you to Systems Settings, and you also have something very similar and very useful in the top right hand corner of the Ubuntu window, another little cog here. Click on the cog and it's a single click and you have System Settings, Displays and a few other options. If we go to Displays, that will take you straight to the equivalent changing your screen resolution in the Windows space, and you have a couple of other options in here. Most of those are self-explanatory. Change the resolution, hit the apply button, and you're done. Okay, what about good old control panel? In the Windows environment, click Start, and you have a control panel option straight from the Start menu. Click on that, and it takes you to, in this case, the classic view of the Windows control panel. In the Ubuntu world, you have the cog that I just mentioned right there. Click on the cog, single click, and it will take you through to the equivalent of what is the Windows control panel. So this is all of your system's settings. We can modify appearance, keyboard, screen displays, attached devices, printers, drivers, and other information available through the system's settings. So that's pretty much the equivalent of the Windows control panel. Close those. Okay, so we've opened up an application, we've had a look at the control panel and a few other basic features. What about internet? And in the XP world at least, if you click on Start, you'll have a couple of pre-configured built-in shortcuts that take you to Internet Explorer, which is the default web browser for Windows XP, or actually virtually every Windows distribution. And you've got Outlook Express, which is a basic email client. So single click on Internet Explorer, and obviously I've changed my home page to Google on this one. Head over to Ubuntu, and you don't need to go to the dash, it's straight available from the panel. It's called Firefox, which is the equivalent of Internet Explorer. So a single click on Firefox, and that should open up in a second or so. And there we go, we have Google in our Firefox web browser. As I mentioned before, your menu and your close buttons and minimize, maximize buttons are hidden until you mouse up to the control bar here. And then you get things like bookmarks, tools, your history, and those three familiar buttons. They are there, you just need to mouse up to the top in order to be able to see them. Firefox works the same way that Internet Explorer does, and there's very little difference between the two. Okay, close out on the internet. So what about mail? Most people access their mail these days through a basic web page or an app on your phone of choice, but you can still use the inbuilt applications. So Outlook Express is the standard one that comes with XP. If you Windows Mail in some of the other versions of Windows, that's if you haven't replaced it with Outlook, which is still the most popular full-blown mail application on the Windows platform. In the Ubuntu world, they haven't forgotten about you. Click on your dash, head down to your applications, the little ruler and the pen and pencil, and you can actually just head up to here and type mail, but in the very original untouched version of an Ubuntu install, mail will actually be one of the shortcut options available to you. But for now, we'll type in mail, and that will take you straight to installed application Thunderbird Mail. Single click, and Thunderbird will open up. Okay, there we go. It starts off with a wizard saying, would you like a new email address? We don't need to worry about that for now. And this works basically the same way as Outlook Express does, and you can use this as your everyday mail client if you prefer. Head up to the top, find the red X to close these applications out. Alright, so what about something a bit more usable such as Office? Well, I have installed at least Word and Excel on these to show you the difference between the two. When you install Ubuntu, and I am assuming that you have the ability to install an operating system yourself, if that is something you're not comfortable with, you don't know how to do it, you don't know where to get the information or how to download it and make it replace your Windows operating system. If you've got an older PC with XP, you want to put Ubuntu on it, by all means drop me a line and I'll do another video on how to obtain certain distributions of Linux, which ones might work better for you, and how to get them onto your machine that you wish to replace Windows or whatever your old computer or new computer for that matter, whatever it came with. You want to put Linux on there, don't know how to do it, let me know, I'll do another video. But one thing that does come with the Ubuntu distributions by default is an Office equivalent. So we've got Writer, Calc and Impress. This is the equivalent of Word, Excel and PowerPoint. So if I just click on Writer there, again single click, LibreOffice will open up, LibreOffice 3, and you get a very familiar Word document application, a nice word processor, and this is completely compatible with Microsoft file formats. So it'll open a doc for you, and it'll save a doc file format, and you can email it off to someone, they can open it in Word without any hassle. So fairly easy. If you don't have any other option, this is a good option to go with. But many people that I've spoken to thinking about changing from Windows to a Linux distribution don't like equivalents, they want the real thing. Well, in Linux that's actually not that hard to do. Linux has emulators that will emulate a great range of standard Windows applications. If you've bought Windows applications such as Office and you don't want to throw that away, you can actually make it work on Linux. I'll give you a quick example. So in the Windows installation, I've installed Office, just Word and Excel. Click on Word, and here we go. There is the ever familiar Microsoft Word application running on XP. In Linux, what I've done is I've installed an application called Wine. It's a Windows emulation package that allows you to install Windows programs, not absolutely everything, but a huge range of them, and get them up and running in Linux. As an example, I'll just show you now. I think I have installed Q for Wine as one of the applications, and I've installed Word. Give that a click, and it does take a few more seconds because it's going through some additional steps in order to be able to run your Windows software. There is the Windows icon. Windows has opened up. Now I haven't registered yet. And there we have Word running inside of Ubuntu 12. So this is Word, and so is this. And because it's the full version of Word, all of the familiar menu choices, all of your options that you're accustomed to seeing running from a Windows platform, it's no different. Everything is still here, so you can just change your fonts, do whatever it is, scroll up and down, do whatever it is you need to do with great familiarity. No problems at all. You even save the same way. Save as, give it a file name, call it a Word document or whatever else you wish, and save it in familiar locations such as documents, and you can then get to those file locations from standard file management within Ubuntu, and you can email them, print them, do whatever it is you need to do. We won't worry about saving that. No saving, get out of there, no saving, and I don't need the Wine application anymore. Alright, brings us to the next point, which is file management, and this is where most people struggle when they're starting to look at an Ubuntu or a Linux distribution, when they're accustomed to the good old C drive, D drive, E drive in the Microsoft world. So if we head to your typical file management program, good old Windows Explorer, you're presented with your very familiar My Documents, My Computer, Network Places and so on. In the Ubuntu world, you get to that by simply clicking this folder. There are different ways to do this, but this is what comes with Ubuntu by default, and that's what we'll start with. So you click on the folder, and it brings up your home space, your home folder. Your home folder is realistically the same as My Documents. You could probably call it Me. that would be more equivalent. So under C drive in a Windows environment, you would head to your documents and settings. You have the users' names, so all users, me and anyone else that's using the computer will be recorded down here. Under me, I have my cookies, my desktop, my favorites, my documents. I've got music and pictures in there as well, and my start menu choices, programs, and so on. This, the me section, is equivalent to clicking here and going home. As you can see, anything that's under my desktop, my documents, I've got one little file in there, my downloads, music, pictures, and so on and so forth. Very similar to here. So this is how you get to it. Click on that, go to home, which it will do automatically, and that gives you the equivalent of heading to your me, or to a degree your My Documents under Windows Explorer. Copying and pasting, it's exactly the same on both systems. So you basically just head to somewhere where you've got a picture, right click to copy the picture, or use the menu choices for copy and paste. Head to a different place where you would like to paste the picture, right click paste, or use the menu choices paste, and you've copied and pasted a file. In Ubuntu, exactly the same. You would head to, I think I've got a document in my documents, right click on it, and there's copy and cut and copy. So I'll click copy, I'll head to my home folder, I'll right click and go down to paste. And there you go, I've pasted a copy of that into my home folder. So that works almost identically. The menu tree down the left hand side is somewhat different to the Windows one. So I'll just go back to where I was before, documents and settings, and there is me, that's all my personal stuff. In Linux you don't have drive letters, you'll have devices, and at this stage I have a CD in the machine called, or the Microsoft Office CD, and I can click on that and see everything that's on that device. If I had a thumb drive in here, I think I can actually do that now, so just pretend that I have gone through and plugged in a thumb drive. So I physically walked up to my computer, just plugged in a thumb drive. Okay, I've installed my thumb drive. Give it a few moments, same as what you would on a Windows system. Head up and you'll see the device appear under devices, and you can click on that and see what other applications you've got, and use that as normal storage, drag and drop, copy and paste, everything's standard. Of course I can flick down to my documents, my downloads, same as what I can on here. When you mouse over, you'll see that says /home/me/downloads. That is the same as C/my documents, me, my documents. I'll go to documents to make it a bit more equal. So home, documents, so C drive, documents and settings, my documents. The slash that you see there in front of the home is the same as calling it C. So slash is C. It is the root of the file system. You can't go any higher than that. That is the top of the tree, so to speak. And the /home is a folder, the /me is a folder, the /documents is a folder. So all you really need to work out is that the slash, so /media, means that slash is the top of the tree. I go into a media folder or a media device to find my CD-ROM, and Office 11 is the folder name of the CD-ROM under the media folder from the slash. It sounds a little confusing, but we can go through it a bit more and clear it up. So what I'll do from here is head up to the command line, something that many people use, good old CMD, command line interface in Windows, and to get to it in Ubuntu, head to your dash, and you can simply find the terminal program, which is the same as the command window in Windows. Click on terminal, and you can simply type for that in the search bar and it'll find it for you as well. And of course you can resize your terminal windows just by mousing over. You may notice that the Ubuntu system seems to run a fraction slower than the Windows system. They've roughly got the same resources between them, and because Ubuntu does significantly more straight out of the box than what Windows does, and it is a more advanced and a more powerful operating system, it runs a little bit slower with the very limited resources that I've given it. Alrighty, so let's carry on. I can do some very similar things in Windows. Directory gives me a directory listing. In VirtualBox, or sorry, in Ubuntu, ls, the list command, does the same thing for me. I can actually use the directory command, but list or ls is a better command because of what it does is it color codes what is a folder as opposed to what is a file. Very handy. To clear the screen in a DOS equivalent window, I type clear on an Ubuntu box. In the Windows environment, I'd simply type CLS. That's how to clear the screen. There are a great many parallels between the two, and they work in very similar ways, but a couple of the basic features, moving up and down directories, change directories, the CD command, space double dash, moves me up a directory. It's exactly the same, CD space double dash, and I've moved up a directory. And as I said, ls to give me my directory tree, dir in the Windows environment. Copy command in the Windows environment is copy, and then I would enter whatever it is I want to copy after that. In the Linux environment, it's simply cp, and I would enter any commands that I would need after that, which file and where to, and so on. One thing worth noting, in the Windows environment, if I typed copy and nothing else, I would get a syntax error because I haven't given it anything else, what file to copy and where to. If I did the same thing in an Ubuntu environment, it gives me an error saying I'm missing some file information, but it gives me a help. Try cp space dash dash help for additional information. So let's just try that. Copy, space, 2 dashes and the word help, and I get a great range of, and here is my task, my scroll bar, great range of information pertaining to the copy command. Right, how to use it, some examples, some syntax, and even some web shortcuts to go to different locations for additional information. Very, very handy. You can use that in any situation in Linux. In the Windows environment, you can do similar. Copy command, space, / and a question mark, and that will give me the syntax and the basic information I need to use the copy command in a DOS window in a Windows environment. I can do the same over here with the ls command, ls, space, 2 dashes and the word help, and there is a lot of help information available to me for the list command, pretty much the same way. But what I wanted to get to a little bit more here, as you can see, I am at the /home directory, so I'm one directory away from being at the top of the tree, which is the /. So if I go directory up and do a list, there is everything on my computer. That is like seeing the entire contents of C drive, all of the folders that are available, and I can dip into any of those folders and then keep drilling my way down like you would in a standard tree environment, Windows Explorer through a Windows system. So in Windows, I am at C, Documents and Settings. So if I go up one directory, I am at C. So if I try and go up again, nothing happens because I am at the top of the tree. I am at root, the /. So clear the window, try to go up a directory. Where am I? pwd prints the working directory. I am at /. Can't go up any further. Try again. Print the working directory. I am at /. That is the same as C. So I hope that at least helps you out to try and understand the differences between the filing structure in a Windows environment and the way Ubuntu and virtually every other Linux distribution does the same thing. Alright, I think that's gone on probably long enough. I hope that's given you an idea of how easy it can be to transition from a Windows environment over to a Linux environment. If you want me to do another video, say, on some more of the details, some more of the ways to get Windows software to run on the Linux environment, or how to do some more things, there's probably 100 more examples that I could come up with that people would use on a daily basis. So if you think that's something that's going to be useful to you, by all means drop me a line and I'll do a video for you. So thanks very much for joining me and watching the show. Subscribers are always welcome, so feel free to subscribe, that would be great. And I hope you'll join me again next week.